Hello and welcome to this Parentune Workshop. Today we will focus on how to prepare your daughter for her first period. I am Ria Thomas and I'm looking forward to hosting this workshop with Dr. Pooja Mittal, Parentune Expert and Senior Gynecologist. Is your daughter approaching puberty? Speaking to your daughter before her first period starts will help her understand what to expect. Today, you learn ways to prepare your daughter for her first period. So let's get started. Dr. Pooja, first things first, why is it important to discuss puberty with your child?
Hello, dear parents to be. I am Dr. Pooja Mittal, Senior Consultant Gynecologist. Puberty with girls and boys both, it is a very important time when they undergo a host of physical as well as emotional and mental changes. So, if we know beforehand what's going to happen, it prepares them in a much better way to accept what is happening to their bodies. Otherwise, if they don't have the power of knowledge, if they don't know what is going on, then that really overwhelms them. So it is good that a discussion should happen. They should be imparted the correct kind of knowledge, before they approach puberty or they before they step into this important part of this life. So that will really equip them to deal with the changes that are going to happen. And hence, I feel that yes, it is very important to let them know about the puberty, the changes that is going to happen, that is going to take place.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Dr. Pooja, we've received a question from Kiara Ahuja, who has a 9 years old daughter. She's from Delhi. She says, my daughter is 9 years old. I can already see hair in her armpits and hair in her private parts. Is this a sign that her periods are beginning anytime soon? How do I prepare her for the same? Keeping this as the background, doctor, what kind of changes happen when a girl child approaches puberty? What are the signs to know that the child is about to start her period and what will it be like?
So classically, we see that the average age for them to attain puberty is between 9 and 15 years of age. But we have seen over the past few decades. So each decade it shows that the age gets reduced. The average age gets reduced by something like 3 to 4 months. So these days, children are getting their periods they much earlier than previously. So these days, even a 9-year-old a girl can get her periods, while in the olden times, some 20, 30 years back, generally the age used to be, 11 years or 12 years, or even later. So if we consider this parent's question, then yes, if the child has developed, hair on her pubic area and underarms, that indicates that the child has, started having her pubertal changes. So this indicates that the period can start. Generally, the period starts 2 years after the development of a breast bud. So it would be better if you take your, daughter to the doctor to assess her physical development, and then probably one can, predict when she's going to have her periods. To prepare her for the oncoming periods, one thing is we must be positive. We must impart knowledge in such a way that it doesn't overwhelm them, it doesn't scares them, and yet they are aware of what is going to happen. So the physical changes that are going to happen with a girl, they are, first thing is the development of the breast. So firstly, a small bud will develop, which will gradually over the years, it will gradually increase in size until the age of, the completion of puberty, which is the last stage when the breast becomes rounded and full adult size. There are also development of body hair, such as hair on the pubic area, which is the private part area, and the underarms. There is also an increase in height. So this happens particularly in the last 2 years prior to when they are about to gain their periods, and the increase that brings them closer to their adult height that they are going to achieve. So these are the changes. Apart from this, some adolescents or teenagers, they can also experience some acne. They can also experience some breast pain along with this. They can also experience some mood changes, particularly when they start menstruating. So all this information can be given to them. I would say a good discussion should not be in one go. Rather, you can give snippets of information in many instances at many particular periods of time. So good would be when they are, being taught at school and they come back to you with your questions. You can ask them what they know and then enrich on their knowledge. When they, a good time may also be when sometimes they ask what, after seeing advertisements on the media or television, what are, pads and how they are to be used, which particular reason they are meant to be. Apart from this, if they ask you how do babies happen, where do babies come from, so all these are the points of time when one can when one can do the reinforcement of a teenager's knowledge of puberty. So do tell them that there is going to be a blood discharge from, on a monthly basis, but do not overwhelm them. They may feel that it's going to be a gush of blood and they, may leak badly. So we must emphasize that the blood flow is not going to be much. And there are also ways to protect yourself from leaks, ways which they are comfortable with can be adopted by them. You can show them various, ways. You can also show them various videos or, educational powerpoints or books regarding this. You can, reinforce on the knowledge regarding sexual development, how babies happen, regarding ovulation. So all this, really imparts knowledge and prepares them in this way. Apart from this, they should also be told how they can prepare themselves if such a happening happens at school. Like if they get a period at school, then they should be able to approach their teacher. They can also keep a period kit ready with a clean pair of, undergarment or a pad in a zipper pouch ready in their bag when they are about to approach the period. So this way that keeps them prepared to, to face the situation as and when it arises. It is also important for friends, and all to discuss among themselves, but impart only the right kind of knowledge. So the, this onus comes on the parent. If we, impart knowledge to our children in the correct way, they are going to, reinforce each other's knowledge also. The role of a teacher is also important. These days schools also hold special sessions for, giving them knowledge, and which are actually these days they start from class 4 or sometimes even class 3. So yes, it is very important to give them the correct kind of information at the correct time. I hope this will help.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja, for that detailed answer. Doctor, can you please let us know in detail when can a girl child get her period and how long does it last?
So the time when a girl child can get her period varies from 9 to 15 years of age, the average age being 12 years. So we have seen that this age is a little bit on the lower side in cities and, large metropolitans, little bit more in the rural areas. This, although this is not a, rule, it's just a generalization. The age may be similar for, women of the same families, such as, it may be same for mother and sisters. So the average age is around 12 years. They can get periods anytime between a 9 and 15 years of age. One good, indicator is after the start of the breastfeed, 2 years later than that, that's the general time probably when they will start having their period. So the normal duration of, menstruation or the blood flow, so that can vary anywhere from 2 to 7 days. So some girls will have their period only for 1.5 to 2 days. Others may have for a week. Now comes the frequency of, having a menstruation. So anywhere between 21 to 35 years is normal once they have, started having regular periods. So it is generally 21 to 35 days. However, for the first 2 to 3 years, when a young girl starts having her periods may be quite irregular, and she may have, as less as one period every 3 months, sometimes even 4 months for the first 2 years. Since the hormonal axis is not yet mature, and hence the periods are still getting very much irregular in the beginning. Once the periods start coming regular, any irregularity developing after that, that calls us to the fact that, we should consult our doctor. So this is how the general frequency, the general time duration. Also, the amount of period blood happening with a girl, that can also vary. So some girls have it really light, some girls have it towards a little bit of heavier side. But how, one way to judge it, if, the girl is passing large coin sized clots or pieces, or if she soaks more than one pad, or one more than one pad every 1 to 2 hours, or tampons getting wet too soon, or there is a flooding, there is a flow, as if a tap is, we have switched on a tap. All these indicate that the flow is abnormally heavy, or if she feels abnormally weak, or exhausted, if there is too much pain. So all these are the indicators that tell us that something is off the normal and we should speak to our doctor. So I hope this will help.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Can you please tell us how can we prepare a daughter or a girl child for her first period? What factors do we need to consider?
So, to prepare a child for the first period, first thing is they should be told regarding the physiology of a lady's body. They should be told that around the age of the age may vary for a girl to girl. Each person is different, but generally around the age of 9 to 11 years, the body changes start happening. The breast starts developing. One may notice some hair growth. The height growth spurt happens. So all these changes happen along with the changes happening internally also, so that the hormone surge that comes in the girls, and they start becoming capable of getting pregnant. So classically, the definition of puberty is attainment of sexual maturity when a lady or even a man that becomes capable of reproduction. So starting from this, we can add up to the child's knowledge. They should be given full information. They should also be told that there would be monthly blood discharge. It can vary anywhere from 2 to 7 days. Initially, it is going to be irregular. It may be as less frequent as once every 3 to 4 months, but later on, every 3 to 4 weeks, that's the time when they'll have it. And it is pretty much normal. They would be able to do almost any activity, that they are able to do when now when they are not getting their periods. It should not be put out something as a disease or a taboo. Rather, it should be projected as a normal happening during the month. These are not the, special days or something like certain activities should not be attempted during that time. That thought should not be, reinforced at all. Just tell them to be positive. Each person is different. They may notice that they may get periods earlier than their friends, or their friends may get it, a little bit early, which may be completely normal. So just remaining positive. Also, I would say, reinforcing too much on the negative symptoms, which may not happen with many children, such as, menstrual pain or PMS. PMS is the mood changes, the bad mood changes that happen before the start of a period, few days before the start of the period, or very bad acne or breast pain. These changes do not happen with all the teenagers, all the adolescents. So I would say the discussion regarding them should be kept in a very casual manner, and they should also be told that medical help is available at hand. If they face any issues, yes, then that can be taken care of. Period supplies, is also something that should be, they should be given knowledge about the various options available, types of pads, and how to use a pad, how to maintain a good hygiene, regarding washing hands, changing their pads frequently every 4 to 6 hours. So all these things they should be told to a teenager before the start of a period. Apart from this, I would say it would be a good idea if they could keep a period kit ready. A period kit can include a clean pair of undergarment and a few pads in a zipper pouch. They can carry it in their backpacks. They should also be told not to hesitate from seeking help from their teacher if they happen to, experience their first period while still in school. And also some educative sessions, they can be taken up by the teachers so that children will be well, they are on the same page as their parents and teachers. They're on the same page. So education sessions, they can be taken by the teachers also. So that is how one can prepare their daughter for a first period.
Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, we have a question from Nadia. She's watching us on this live. She says, मेरी 13 years की बेटी के periods को start हुए 1 year होने वाले हैं. Periods time पर नहीं होते. कभी-कभी 2 months से भी ऊपर हो जाते हैं. क्या ये normal है या हमें doctors को दिखाना चाहिए? Keeping this as a background, doctor, can there be any complications for the child? When should a parent seek doctor's advice?
Hi, Nadia. मैं आपको यही कहूंगी, पीरियड्स जब एक गर्ल के स्टार्ट होते हैं तो उसके 2 साल बाद तक, कभी कभी 3 साल बाद तक भी, मोर सो पहले 2 साल में पीरियड्स काफी इरेगुलर हो सकते हैं। तो कभी कभी 2 महीने में एक पीरियड आना, कभी कभी 3 महीने में एक पीरियड आना, ये नॉर्मल हो सकता है, क्योंकि जो हार्मोनल एक्सेस है, जो रेगुलरिटी है, जो पीरियोडिक अप एंड डाउन ऑफ हॉर्मोन्स है जो बॉडी में होता है, जिससे पीरियड्स ठीक से डेवलप होते हैं, वो अभी तक पूरी तरह डेवलप नहीं होता। तो इस वजह से आप फिक्र नहीं करो। अगर आपकी बेबी को, आपकी बेटी को 1 साल हुआ है पीरियड्स आते हुए और वो अभी भी इरेगुलर हैं, तो इन ड्यू कोर्स ऑफ टाइम, आई वुड से शायद 1 और साल में उसके पीरियड्स रेगुलर होने लगेंगे। जो करने के लिए आपको जो उसके साथ स्टेप्स लेने चाहिए, पहली चीज तो है फिजिकल एक्टिविटी जरूर एनकरेज कीजिए, बिकॉज फिजिकल एक्टिविटी एनकरेज करने से उनके जो हॉर्मोन्स हैं वो रेगुलेटेड रहेंगे, एंड इस तरह से जो इरेगुलर पीरियड्स है वो डेवलप नहीं होता है। इसके अलावा एक और खास तरह की हार्मोनल प्रॉब्लम है जिसको हम पॉलिसिस्टिक ओवरीज भी बोलते हैं, वो फ्यूचर लाइफ में डेवलप होने के चांसेस कम होते हैं। फिजिकल एक्टिविटी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। इसके अलावा बच्चे को अच्छी डाइट देना, सभी तरह के फ्रूट्स वेजिटेबल्स, एक्स्ट्रा कार्ब्स और जंक फूड, ये सब कुछ खाने के लिए आपको ज्यादा एनकरेज नहीं करना है। शी शुड इंक्लूड प्लेंटी ऑफ फ्रूट्स एंड वेजिटेबल्स इन हर डाइट। सो ये सब ध्यान रखते हुए एक मेंस्ट्रुअल कैलेंडर मेंटेन कीजिए, उसमें नोट डाउन करना चाहिए पीरियड कब आए, कितने दिन रहे। आपको डॉक्टर को दिखाने की जरूरत तब है अगर उसके पीरियड्स बहुत ज्यादा दिनों के लिए ब्लीडिंग होती है, बहुत हैवी ब्लीडिंग होती है, बहुत ज्यादा फ्रीक्वेंटली ब्लीडिंग होती है, या पीरियड पहले 6 महीने तक भी नहीं आते। इन सारी बातों में आपको डॉक्टर को दिखाने की जरूरत है। लेकिन जिस तरह के सिम्टम आपने हमें बताए हैं कि हर 2 से 3 महीने में पीरियड आ रहा है, दैट कुड बी नॉर्मल ऑल्सो। और इस बात को रीइंफोर्स करते हुए आपको डॉक्टर को कब दिखाना चाहिए, अगर ये हमारे सभी पेरेंट्यून पेरेंट्स के लिए है, अगर किसी गर्ल को 15 इयर्स की एज तक भी पीरियड्स नहीं आए तो डेफिनेटली एक गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट से चेकअप करवाना चाहिए। दूसरी बात है, अगर बच्चे के पीरियड्स पहले रेगुलर थे लेकिन अब इरेगुलर हो गए हैं, जैसे पहले उसे हर 3 वीक्स में पीरियड्स आते थे, और अब समथिंग लाइक एवरी 4 मंथ्स, एवरी 5 मंथ्स, इस तरह का साइकिल डेवलप हो जाता है, तो डेफिनेटली डॉक्टर को दिखाना चाहिए। इसके अलावा अगर पीरियड बहुत फ्रीक्वेंट्स हैं, जैसे कि 3 हफ्ते से पहले आ जाते हैं, दैट मीन्स 3 वीक्स से पहले पीरियड्स आए, और इफ दे आर वेरी मच इनफ्रीक्वेंट, दे आर मोर infrequent than every 6 weeks, or they are very heavy, that is lasting more than 7 days, or the flow is too much, that is they are soaking one pad every something like 1 hour. Pain is too much during the periods, that is the child is not able to do her regular activities, has to taken off from school, or has to lie down in the bed, then all these are the signs that we should consult a doctor. So these would be the red signals when we have to consult a doctor. However, having a regular period for the first few years, such as 2 years of puberty, that may be normal also. I think this would help.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. We have a question from Panki Agnihotri. She says, my 10 years old daughter last month only began with her periods. I'm confused what would be safe for her, sanitary napkin, tampons, or cups. Please guide me. Her periods are regular and first 2 days the flow is really heavy. So, doctor, keeping this as the background, can you please suggest how a child can maintain hygiene during periods? What would be the best option for a child? A sanitary napkin or a tampon or a menstrual cup? And can you please explain the advantages and the disadvantages of each?
Yes. So there are 3 kinds of protection for a period available to a girl. So first is a pad, the other one is a tampon, and the third one is a menstrual cup. So pad is the simplest to use, that's the pro. However, the con is that it can sometimes leak. And it may be a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning when the child has not gotten used to it. Tampons and menstrual cups, they would need something to be inserted in their bodies, inside their bodies. Hence, many of the teenagers, many of the young girls, when they have just started menstruating, they may not be very comfortable with the idea of using a tampon or a menstrual cup. So I would say one can start with a pad, and hence when the child has grown up a little, gotten used to the idea, or when she is mentally or physically prepared to use a tampon, that would be better. Tampons are also available specifically for teenagers. They come marked as, they were marked as teenage tampons. They are a little bit narrower than the ones that are meant for adult women. So that can be used, and they need to be taught how to be, how to insert those. Pads are a little bit easier to use. To maintain proper hygiene, it would be good to change the pad every 4 to 6 hours, even if it is not completely so, and every 6 to 8 hours for a tampon. Also, tampons are a good idea for certain, sports such as swimming or other water activities, which is when, a tampon is a better choice than the than the pad. So these are the, three kinds. A child can be shown how to use, or with the help of videos, or she can be shown the pictures or the actual product itself. And, it is up to them to decide what they want to use. With the use of a tampon, they can use additionally a panty liner for additional protection to protect themselves from a leak. With a pad, I would say that, soft cotton based pads which are less prone to cause skin allergies or rashes, they can be used. Also, some pads, they offer protection against bad smells and all, they can be used, and a frequent change that will prevent, any kinds of untoward infections and also rashes. So this is one. They should also be taught how to, cover them up in a zipper pouch or a paper bag, and dispose them of properly in, specific bins that are kept in the bathrooms these days. So proper disposal is also important. Menstrual cup is a little bit more tricky to use, and, some children, they may be afraid that it may get lost inside their bodies. So I would say it can come later when the child has grown up a little. Also, with the use of a tampon and a menstrual cup, I would say the children need to be taught that it is physically impossible for it to be lost inside their bodies. And, they can be shown diagrams of, a structure of the female vagina, and hence they would understand that, it will not go up inside their bodies. Because this is a real fear that I have seen some young girls have. Apart from this, if they face any problem or pain in insertion or removal of the tampon, or the pad has caused any kind of, undue rash or itching, or, infection or bad smell, then also they should, tell their mother and also consult a doctor. So that would be one. To maintain good hygiene, it would be important that they wash their hands regularly after handling any of such products. They should also wash their hands after changing pads, after throwing them away, and, in general, after using a washroom. Every 4 to 6 hours, a pad should be changed, and a tampon that should be changed every 6 to 8 hours. So that would be one. Also, proper disposal of these products is important. That can be taught. Use of too much of harsh soaps, as well as, showers, strong showers or faucets over the private part area may not be very conducive, as well as use of too much, any kind of lotion or tile that is has very strong smell. So all these chemicals, they should not be used over the private part area. Washing oneself regularly, but I would say a mild soap can be used once a day. Rest of the times they can wash themselves just with plain water, and that should do. So maintaining a good hygiene, wearing cotton panties, and, the artificial cloth that is more prone to cause infections and rash, that can be kept to a minimum. So all these things, they will help the girls maintain a better hygiene and better health. I hope this will help.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Doctor, can you please tell us what can she do if she gets her periods in her school? Any tips for teachers and parents to help children deal with it?
So yes, this can happen that the child has gotten her first period while at school. So I would say it would be better if she is given adequate knowledge and, education regarding pubertal changes, what a period is, how is it going to happen beforehand, so that when it happens, she is actually mentally and emotionally prepared for it, and without getting overwhelmed, she will, approach the science in a better way. So if this happens at school, I would say she should, with confidence and without getting afraid, she should approach her teacher for due help. Schools should also keep menstrual kits in their medical rooms that can include, the pads or a clean set of, a new set of underpants that can be included, which can be given to girls if such a thing happens. Apart from this, a dedicated teacher who discusses the situation with them, imparts them knowledge if this has happened. Also, these days there are books and videos available, PowerPoints or presentations available that can be shared with the children. Also, parents, if they get a chance, definitely they should discuss this beforehand with the child. Child can carry a menstrual kit in her bag at a secluded place, in a secured zipper that can include a pad. She can easily change it in case of any leakage or soiling that has happened at school. And also, some medication, some children also get bad period cramps and pains, so I would say for that, medication and medical help should also be available at school. So this will help schools in better preparing themselves for such things. I hope this will help.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Dr. Pooja, can you let us know how and when to talk to the child about puberty? How to discuss with the child before the child approaches puberty?
So I would say the discussion should be, done in small points at many occasions, rather than giving too much information in one go that may be overwhelming for a young girl. So I would say start the conversation early and slowly build on the child's understanding. So good points or good, times when this such a discussion can be started is when they are curious. They ask you what periods are, if they ask on themselves, or they ask, while looking at the advertisements or on social media, what are sanitary pads meant for? Or if they ask, where do babies come from? Or if you have visited a, departmental store or a supermarket where they saw pads and tampons and they ask what these are. So I would say these are the moments when you can have the period talk. And, they should be comfortably done with by both the parents, ideally. If not, whoever parent is more comfortable with the child can initiate the discussion, and then it can be built upon. So this is the way how they can be made to be made aware of the surroundings and the changes that are going to happen. They can also be given books to read, which they can read at their own pace, or certain pictorial diagrams, or sometimes some videos and PowerPoint presentations are also available, which help them in understanding the topic better. So I would say this is how, and maybe a good age to start the discussion that depends on the maturity level and the understanding of the child. But probably by 9 years of age, they should be made aware of these things. I hope this helps.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Doctor, is it normal to skip a period during the first few years after a girl child starts menstruating?
Yes, for the first 2 years and sometimes even up to first 3 years, the hormonal axis that is responsible for the regular monthly period that is not developed properly, and hence that is the time when the periods they may come irregularly. Sometimes they get one period every 3 months, so that may also be their frequency. However, some girls will get it every 3 weeks, others will get it every 6 weeks. Both are okay, but for the first 2 years in particular, the periods can be quite, irregular or infrequent. They should visit the doctor if they are having heavy bleeding, prolonged periods, or more frequent periods. But for the first 2 years of their, after starting the menstruation, it may be completely okay if the periods are coming once every 3 months or so. They may be.
Doctor, are there any myths associated with puberty? Can you please share top three myths which people always associate with periods?
So some of the myths I would say associated with puberty. One thing is which we have addressed also in this talk so far. One thing is the kind of food. So having one type of food may increase the flow, or having the other types, one should not eat a particular type of food. These are all myths. if healthy food is eaten, it does good to our body. So nothing like, one particular type of food should not be had. One thing is this. Other thing is physical activity should not be done during periods. That's also a myth. Because it is good to do physical activity during periods, it should be done. It rather, regulates the hormones and controls the pain. Third thing is, some homes, some households, it is believed that, women having or girls having menstruation, they are confined. They should not, come to the main house. They are kept in a separate house, or their clothes are washed separately. All these are also myths. There is nothing of this sort. It's not like they are dirty or some dirty discharge is happening. So this should also not be done. These are all myths related to the puberty.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. Dr. Pooja, we have a question from Runa Roy. She's from Kolkata. And she says, can you please suggest some health foods to avoid during periods?
So some foods to avoid during periods, they may be, foods that are very much rich in salts and oils, because that may lead to additional bloating. Bloating, which is already, it happens to some extent with girls. So, having too much of fried stuff, pickles, chutneys and sauces, which are very rich in salt, that may not be a very good idea. Also having food that is, very much processed, or snacks or unhealthy food or junk food. Too much of coffee otherwise doesn't harm, but again, since it is very high in caffeine, it can, bring out stimulation and mood changes. The girls generally, they already deal with a lot of mood changes when, having menstruation. So these are some of the foods that are to be avoided. Otherwise, all kinds of healthy food, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, all this stuff is, encouraged during periods.
Thank you, Doctor. Doctor, we learned a lot of things in this workshop today. Can you please quickly recap how to prepare your daughter for her first periods?
So for a recap, I would say a girl should be, made aware of the changes and everything much before the anticipated. So I would say 9 years may be a good age, or otherwise, according to the understanding of the daughter, she should be told about the changes that the body will undergo, how, this period, discharge will happen every month. Regarding the supplies also that are available for period protection, that is also one that they can be, told about. Apart from that, how to keep themselves clean, how to, they should also be encouraged regarding exercise and good diet. So this is how it should be discussed. Also, being a very important milestone in a girl's life, they should also be taught about physical and hormonal changes that are happening during puberty, because it can be very much overwhelming to them. So help them deal with the changes. They should also be given knowledge regarding the various changes that are happening to the body. So that would pretty much sum up.
Doctor, can you please elaborate for us what are some of the physical developments in girls? What to expect during puberty?
When a girl, it hits puberty, so first thing that is there is the development of a small breast bud. So first the breast bud would develop, which gradually over the years developed into the full blown breast. There is also an increase in height that we say is the growth spurt. So that brings them closer to the adult height that they are going to finally achieve. It is maximum during the last 2 years of puberty. There is also some development of body hair, such as hair in the underarm area and also on the private part area. So this. Apart from that, the menstruation, which generally happens 2 years after the start of development of the breast. Also, after the development of the body hair, the menstruation generally happens soon. So this is the chronology of changes that happen when a puberty is about to happen. I hope this will help.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja, for such an amazing workshop. We really learned a lot from this workshop, and thank you all the Parentune parents for joining this.